Never done. One shot, one kill. Never done. One shot, one kill.
never done.
One shot, one kill.
Never done. One shot, one kill. Never done.
One kill.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here! Nerf
Play of the game.
Heroes never die.
Welcome to Stage 1, Week 4 of Owlet Tournament. We're here with a majors match of Boosted by the Way versus FifteenSixxteen. I am joined today by my co-caster, XavierEXE. Xavier, how are you doing today?
I'm doing alright. This is my first time casting, so hopefully I can live up to the expectations of casting for majors for you guys.
Of course. So today's match we're going to be seeing Boosted by the Way versus FifteenSixxteen. So, X, tell me a little bit about FifteenSixxteen.
So FifteenSixxteen currently has a map score of 1-5. They got their first win in their second game in week 3, and they're looking to turn it around and to give Boosted by the Way their first loss. FifteenSixxteen last week really turned around their gameplay and has looked to play a pretty defensive style, capitalizing on their opponent's mistakes and capitalizing on their star DPS player Noma's flexibility.
So, other than Noma, is there anyone we really should be keeping an eye out for in tonight's match?
I would also keep an eye on Chunk. He's got a very mean Sombra that can completely shut down Boosted by the Way's aggressive playstyle. Chunk is normally on the Brigitte when they play triple support, but he's got a couple other heroes up his sleeve that he can pull out in a pinch.
Awesome. So let's also talk a little bit about Boosted by the Way. Boosted by the Way, they're the #1 team right now. They are 6-0. And they have won most of their maps. Star players, watch out for her. Lokai and Flamia. Flamia is their main support. They're Ana player. She is able to get these massive Ana nades, and those anti nades are one of the strongest abilities in the game right now. So we really want to be watching out for her. And Lokai is their just star hit scan player. Easy cleanup on Widow and Ashe always. So let's start moving into the standings for this week. So we're looking at from Stage 1, Week 3. At the end of the week, we saw the standings get updated. Boosted is still in first place, 6-0 with a +19. Just followed by Ghost Peppers are the only other undefeated team up to this point. Team Verdant 5-1, and the Megs and Yes are all 5-1 right now for that third place slot. Only changing in the map differential. And then if we go all the way down to our 12th place slot, that's where we're seeing FifteenSixxteen. So this is definitely a 100% underdog match. But you can't knock these guys at all. They beat the 5th place team last week. And that is no easy feat, is it, X?
No, it's not. And I would expect this game to be a lot closer than the standings show. FifteenSixxteen really turned around their play last week. They went from being over aggressive and not holding on to their ults as much as they should to going through Rialto, their second map of their last game last week, with nearly 6 ults every single fight and winning each fight handily.
Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about our first map tonight, Nepal. What are we expecting to see here?
So Nepal's a pretty interesting map because each of the 3 points has a lot of different play styles that they can enable. Now, Shrine is the most traditional map. We'll probably see a fair bit of goats, but Pharmacy can also work there. On Village, this is a map where we can see some Mei play pulled out. We might see the Reaper, who was recently given a massive buff to his lifesteal. And on Sanctum, I would expect to see some pretty interesting compositions with maybe a lot of boops. We might see some Orisa Roadhog. We can see some snipers, Junkrat, Widow. Basically anything is okay on Sanctum.
Fair enough. So we're going to see some really interesting comps here. And Nepal in general as a map, it's also just a gorgeous map. Can we just talk about that for a second? It is one of the prettiest maps. You can just go in and just look around, and it's just the snow, the architecture. You know, it's a really nice place to go and kill your friends, which is the point of Overwatch here.
I'm excited to see how this map puts both teams' flexibility to the test.
Definitely. When we'll see. We'll soon be going into the map, seeing which stage of the map, I should say, we're gonna see first. When it comes to control points in general, we generally see a lot of goats. Should we be expecting just goats, or do you think we can see some kind of really interesting comps coming up?
I am probably going to expect goats on both Shrine and Village. I think Sanctum is too risky to run goats confidently on, just with the massive pit. Lucio can get so much value, and goats can't really do much about the boob. So I would hope we see a bit more than just goats on all of these points.
Fair enough. In the end, bunkers tends to be dominating for Sanctum, but we're this map, and this one is probably the most of the 3 stages that are available for Nepal. Like, what are you expecting specifically for Shrine here?
I'm probably going to expect some goats, maybe a bit of pharmacy, and we sometimes see widows come out on the side by coast, but usually it's just goats v goats.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of goats v goats. It gets real brawly, gets real intense. It's gonna make my job really hard because I'm just gonna be able to try to track who's doing what. But this will be a really interesting match to see. In a second, we're gonna start seeing the comps start coming in. But this is gonna really come down to the tank play on this map for me. Tank v tank battles are what decide it 100%.
I was going to say the Ana battle view, but it looks like we might not be seeing standard goats from either of these teams here.
No, it doesn't seem like. It looks like we're going to see a bit of a death ball coming from the side of Boosted, with Zach on that Pharah and Lokai on the Ashe. And Ashe on this point, getting that 7th player, Bob, on that point, can absolutely destroy anything that you come against.
Whereas FifteenSixxteen is going to make the swap off of the Torbjorn. No Torb today, unfortunately, and we're going to see the classic Zen goats from the
100%. We're going to start seeing the fight breaking down, the rockets coming down from the air. Spook trying to swing away, so Delicious and Spook in a battle of the Reinhardt, swing the hammers right back at each other. Spook trying to push right back up. They're being able to push them all off the point. Boosted, they need to get a foothold here. Panda Bear trying to find that foothold, but he can't get it. Spook is going to keep them all off. FifteenSixxteen are going to get a cap right away. That is huge. Get that cap. Delicious trying to get it back on, but he's not going to be able to get a whole lot. They're going to be fighting it back and forth. But already a huge shot coming into Spook! And it's going to be an easy cleanup with that! And that's already down. Spook does fall, but it doesn't matter. In the end, and that's going to be huge, right in the favor, initially, of FifteenSixxteen. X, what happened?
Spook pulling ahead early movement charge, put his team in a fantastic position to take this fight. Delicious healed slightly too early, allowed Spook to get a massive shatter to take that fight with a clean win using only 1 ultimate, and that's going to leave ultimate advantage.
It is, and that's going to be everything when coming into these fights. And it's going to back, and immediately, Spook drops, and the bomb is sent in. That's going to be a lot of pain. Delicious picking up in the second. That's going to be a punch all right of the point, and that's going to set this point right back into Boosted, by the way, his face. They're going to try to push it all the way back. Delicious. He's going all the way back over to the respawn. They're going to hold for core.
Wow. Delicious is looking to make a name for themselves. Spook winning that first fight, and Delicious doing the exact same, winning their next fight with only shatter.
That is absolutely. In the end, we do have the ultimate advantage in favor of FifteenSixxteen. They're available, and not to mention a Diva Bomb. Although we've got Grav Barrage, a terrifying ultimate anytime to see. They're gonna come from. It looks like 56. Is going to come from high ground, and they're going to try to drop on, but here comes the grab, and then here comes the barrage, and it's huge! That's going to be 4 kills from Zach right away, and Rio trying to throw in a whole lot. He's going to immediately get this surrounded and collapsed on.
Boosted did exactly what they needed to in that fight. They knew they had an ult deficit, so they needed to use their combos. FifteenSixxteen exactly what they did. By the time Ryu pulled out the Transcendence, it was...
Absolutely. That was a wonderful map. right there. Really, really well played fight from
And then, now the ultimate economy is even.
coming from Flamia onto the 15-16. That's gonna really hurt them coming into this. They're gonna use the beat as an aggressive. Here comes the grab, and Ella gets 2. The bomb gets nothing, but in the end, that does drop their both Memory and Delicious. But no, it's going right back in. We're going right back into favor of 15-16. They might be able to take this. That grab was huge, taking out those 2 players right away. Panda Bear kills himself. Accidentally just gets that less, and Lokai with the stagger.
Boosted can't feel too bad about that fight though. They have 4 ults, soon to be 5 coming into this next fight. They can probably do an eco push here if they feel like building up that grav, and then invest all 5 ults in the last fight and win this point fairly easily, I would expect. It's going to take a lot of good play and coordination for 15-16 to win this fight now, because they had to invest so much to win that fight that they just won.
Absolutely, and we're gonna see Zach over here coming on the side, and Bob comes in, but he doesn't get in a good position. That Bob's not gonna get anything. And Spook, both Ryans, both flubbed their respective ultimates, and it's gonna be Delicious swinging away, just doing whatever damage he can against Spook with the nano, but he doesn't get any kills with it. No utility out of that nano in the end, and it's just gonna be a brawling match. Just coming in, poke in, do as much damage as you can. But here comes the grab and the barrage, and it's big. That's 3 kills from Zach. And we're gonna see them keep fighting. Diva just trying to do what he can to stay alive. Well, this Brig keeps him up, but the Brig's not gonna be enough. And then we're gonna see Nano fall off to the back and run away. That's gonna be it. Right back in favor, 90-99. We could see, we'll likely see a 99-99 overtime push here from 15-16. Chunk swapping it over to the Tracer. And the purple with Spook. He's so far. He's so far away. He pushes everyone so far back. That's gonna leave his team with the opening. But a big shatter coming in, picking out Noma. No tanks available for 15-16. Rio falls shortly after. Nano comes in with the purple, and Bob is back on point. My main man, Bob. He's gonna take out 2. We're gonna see the fight keep going on here, and it's gonna be Spook just getting pushed off point. And the first point going to Boosted, by the way.
Boosted ending that map with a Boostio. Now, that last fight looked a little bit dicey for them at the start because both Ryans blocked each other's ults, and it got to a situation where the only ultimate online for either team was Zach's Barrage, but Panda Bear Kev able to build up his Graviton just in time, and that combo being the savior for Boosted on that point.
We really can't talk about Panda Bear Kev enough. His Zarya was so good. It was just so clean. Every single grab of his got really good value out of it.
They nailed both of the Barrage combos fantastically. Ryu's Ascendance was not enough to counter the damage in both of those.
Oh, 100%. Like there's no way that Panda Bear's Mike was not Panda Bear's grabs were not getting anything off of it.
We're gonna see exactly what I predicted from Boosted. We're gonna see both Mei and Reaper in the same comp versus Zengoats again from 15-16.
That can absolutely change the way this is gonna go, and it's gonna be a little bit of a poke fight. See who's gonna get in, and Spook. They're gonna push on in with the Zengos and immediately take down Delicious. Huge initial push. One Panda Bear kept falling behind him. That's going to be huge. Memory getting dropped, and Flania just trying to back up and keep their Zarya alive. That's going to be an initial instant fight win for 15-16.
Now Booster, by the way, is going to need to look to get some good value out of this Mei. While the first fight, 15-16 was able to just completely walk around it, and they weren't able to section anyone off from the rest of their team. The way they're going to expect to push in here is to wall off the Rhine exactly like that.
But a huge shatter from Spook! Just to say, no, you're not gonna get me with that. Take out Delicious and Memory right away once again. And Panda Bear, as has been tradition, is the third to follow. We've seen the same 3 people die at the beginning of these first 2 fights. That's got to be something you got to nudge or boost it and say, hey, maybe we pull it back a little bit.
Now that was actually well played by Panda Bear Kev to wall off the Rhine there, but Spook with a fantastic reaction ult. I'm surprised Delicious wasn't able to block that one.
Absolutely. We see the grab coming in. It is a huge grab, but the wall is going to get some protection in there. But Memory does fall. And then a counter, and it comes in with the Reaper ult. But the trans from Ryu, it's huge. No one dies, and they're going to keep the fight going. Spook pins out Delicious. Delicious dies, and they shatter already. Zach Lokai both drop, and it's gonna go right back into 15-16's favor again. That is huge. They had Boost, by the way, had the chance, and they lost it.
15-16 was able to completely negate 4 of Boosted ults with only 2 of their own, and then win the fight with a Shatter Grab. That was fantastically played, and Boosted, by the way, was about to have an advantage and have all 6 ultimates online, and they just threw it away because 15-16 was able to negate them so well.
That's really important.
We're gonna see the switch off of the Reaper onto the Pharah and engage.
And we see the Blizzard's on point. It's gonna catch 2. It's gonna catch both Ethereal and Chunk, and they're gonna get and Ethereal's gonna be taken out. But Spook gets back to point, but he gets taken down by Zach, and that's gonna be huge. Taking out the main tank like that, and Lokai drops. Flamia just trying to stay alive, doing whatever she can. Panda Bear, Kev, and Zach fighting out a point, and they got all they have left is the Zarya. And Delicious comes in with the Shatter, whiffs, but it's okay because this team's there to take out Lokai. And Nano is gonna be the last to fall here. Gonna stagger out that D.Va, and gonna get this point right back to Boosted, by the way.
I really like the switch that Zach made onto the Pharah here. He's already 90% to his ultimate, and well, what is 15-16 gonna do against a Pharah with this composition? It all basically comes down to Ryu poking her out of the sky, but that's a lot to ask for one Zen to do.
It really is tough to come against that, as just the Zen being the only one to take that out. And it's huge damage initial every time, too. Zach already has a barrage.
Kev almost has Blizzard.
And that's a huge shatter coming in from Spook. Initial 2 right away, make that 3, 4, and that's gonna be right back. That fight did not last long at all. That's gonna make it
Boosted has
real.
4 ults and they didn't get a chance to use any of them.
Spook has outplayed Delicious on each of these fights. I don't think we can give enough credit to him as this main tank here. He's the one who's really putting his team on his back and saying, "Follow me."
First map on Shrine was interesting to see the Pharah get so much value because it was a bit of a more wide open point, but now on Village, this comp with the Mei just wasn't working for them. It's so much closer that Goats got a lot more value in the brawl fights.
It really comes down to that, like, who can win these brawls, and you're right. Look, the Goats there absolutely destroyed every single time, and there's really not a whole lot you can do against that. We're gonna see the teams coming up here. We see Bunker v Goats, and that should be really interesting. Goats can't break through it unless Delicious and Panda Bear need to get some huge pulls and hooks to make sure that Goats gets absolutely crushed.
Yeah, we're gonna have to be watching Delicious here. It's gonna be down to where he positions this shield and if they can get set up on point before 15-16 is able to win a single fight.
And they're not going to be able to.
Ryan going flying!
Ryan, Spook goes flying across the map, but he stays alive. He doesn't get dropped into the hole. And that's going to be a huge double kill from Zach, though. That's going to make things a lot more open, taking out 2 of the supports, and to take out Spook with it. Zach really opening this up, and they're going to push them all back into that room, and the last life is going to be Rayo, taken out by the Onanade. Flamia also got another kill onto the baby D.Va. Flamia, and that gives them both Tire and coming up to a nano boost, coming into this next fight.
This is fantastic for them. Boosted is looking to hold very aggressive with this bunker comp, actually, not opting to stay back on point. I really like this, actually. They've got an ultimate advantage. They can afford to do this and try and build up some more time bank.
Oh, definitely. Who were thinking that we're gonna see the Lokai from the Flamia ultimate coming in? But we have the Tire coming in, and it's huge! It takes out 2!
It's not even gonna matter.
It doesn't matter! Lokai taking out the 3rd support. They've got no supports. It's just the 3 tanks left, and they're gonna have to run away. They have no choice. Lokai is able to take out Noma as well, and we just see the D.Va and the Ryan trying to hide, and it's gonna be a much more aggressive hold this time, demeching the D.Va.
That's a fantastic D-mech at the end. That's going to stagger them for a long time. And we're going to see Noma make the swap onto Ashe to try and counter this bunker comp.
That could do some work. That Dynamite, if it's placed in the right spot, as well as a Bob being able to send right through the bunker, can easily clean it up.
I don't know if they're going to be able to break through this advantage. Look at this rotation around behind, though.
This is a really interesting rotation coming in, but Bob comes in and he gains out the 2 in the back. He takes out 2, and it's gonna be right back to Boosted. But Boosted, they're gonna be able to hold it. All thanks to Lokai and Panda.
Delicious rotated to the other side of the point fantastically there, and Noma only got 9% of their ultimate that fight. They didn't do any damage.
there was nothing he could do. He was the second he was a little bit behind, and he immediately got caught out by that Bob. All that 15-16 has here ready is going to be their Reinhardt ult and the trans, and here's the trans, and they're gonna come in. Spook is just gonna keep trying to swing, but they're not gonna get a whole lot with it. Spook, and then we got another reptile coming in. It's gonna take out the Reinhardt, and not to mention Mimuri booped off the boop, and then we got Mimuri got another kill onto the other support. Delicious, just dropping his ultimate nano, and it's gonna be it. Lokai with the 3 right at the end, and they're just gonna try to kill that Lucio that's trying to hold on for dear life, and that is gonna be it.
Fantastically played for the Junkrat Tire to go directly onto the Reinhardt. Spook wasn't able to use the Shatter that was going to be their only chance of winning that fight. I think the swap onto Ashe came way too late, and I'm not even sure if Ashe was the right pick against a composition like that. I would have much preferred something with a lot more shield break, like Junkrat, or maybe even something like a Roadhog to deal with this bunker comp.
Definitely something they just really needed to get whatever they could to counter that bunker. They were not able to get through Delicious, being able to push through that shield, and Delicious just with positioning was absolutely fantastic.
And it's rough on Sanctum because it feels like if you're going against a bunker comp and they win the first fight, you just can't dislodge them after that. It feels like you're ramming your head into a wall.
Absolutely, no, it's really frustrating to come up against that. So we're gonna start moving on to our next map here, Route 66. What can we expect for 66?
Route 66, as much as I would love to see something exciting like the quad DPS comp that has shown up in Contenders, I highly doubt we're going to see that from either of these teams. I'm expecting a fair amount of goats, at least on first point, but this map we could see a lot of weird things. We could see some Bastion, we've seen double sniper on second point, we can even see Pharmacy. It's a bit of a toss-up here, but I won't be surprised if we see more goats.
Completely fair, and I really wouldn't be surprised if we were going to see more of Zach on this DPS. Zach has been absolutely cleaning up, and it's like we need to keep seeing him. If he keeps playing at this level, boosted by the way, they're going to be untouched for the rest of this.
And another player we haven't talked about too much, but Flamia on that last match on Sanctum didn't have to use Nano once and never died on Sanctum.
That is
completely untouched on Ana.
Where they can't be touched. She's one of the most terrifying little grandmothers you will ever see. Like she will get in there, and you're not gonna get any cookies from this grandma. It looks like we're gonna be moving soon here into the 66. Boosted, by the way, will be on defense first point, and 15-16 will be seeing on the attack. What does 15-16 need to do to take this point from Boosted?
I think 15-16 is going to have to shut down Zach here. The reason they were able to win Village was because it was a point where Zach couldn't get value on that Pharah, and he had to try and play something else, and the Reaper was just not working. So I think their main priority is going to have to be shooting Zach out of the sky if he's on the Pharah, or shutting him down on whatever other hero he plays.
I completely agree. Not to mention, he does have a really good Genji. So they do need to make sure they watch that back line. If Ryu's on that Zen, he's got to keep his eyes peeled for that Genji to come out.
Actually, given how good Zach's Genji has been in the past, we might see them pull out Dive here on their own attack.
That's very possible. Dive in general on either side, defensively or offensively, on Route 66 is always a really strong comp to run.
It'll be interesting to see what we get as we move into this map, because there's so many different possibilities. I'm still going to hold up hope for quad DPS, though.
Look, I mean, hey, you never know what's going to happen. They might just be hearing your prayers. I mean, hey, we were watching a Contenders game earlier where they were what were they running? There was a triple DPS with a Torbjorn and a Bastion.
It was a very interesting game of Route 66. Attack, triple tank, triple DPS with no supports. I'm hoping we don't see that. We saw that it wasn't very successful, and I will be happy to see something not as insane as that composition here. It
might not be the most successful comp, but it is absolutely one of the most fun comps to be watching.
Yes, it's very entertaining to cast.
Absolutely. So we're gonna start seeing it. We're finally loading into the map here, and 66. Just aesthetically speaking, it is a just really nice map to watch. I mean, we learn more about what caused this giant train wreck from Ash's cinematic, which was easily one of my favorite cinematics to come out to this day.
And it's nice to see Ash being in this game. It looks like it's been a bit of a blessing for Boosted, by the way. They are undefeated, but Lokai's been pulling out this Ash a lot and have been having massive success on it every time.
And it does look like we're gonna see that Ash come back. Orisa Hog once again, and Zach and Lokai running the Pharah Ash combo. That should be really interesting. And something we haven't talked about. You know, a lot of people when they think of Pharah, they think it has to be with a Mercy. We haven't seen them run Mercy once. Like they've had all Zach's need for healing is that either Harmony Orb or just a couple shots from their Mercy.
And I think the reason we haven't had to see Pharmacy run on the side of Boosted, by the way, is because FifteenSixxteen has been running a lot of these Goats compositions that can't really pressure Pharah up in the sky. All she needs is a bit of that Harmony Orb, and she doesn't need the damage boost because she can lay down so much damage in the area of effect for the little ball that Goats runs around in that she gets her ult basically every single fight, regardless of the damage boost.
Definitely, and we're gonna be seeing a 3-2-1 comp here. Coming in, nope, never mind. We're swapping some stuff around over on the side of FifteenSixxteen. They're gonna run with the 2-2-2.
Making proactive swaps to be able to deal with this Pharah, running triple support with Ryan, Zarya, and Noma on the Ash.
Huge hook initially from Panda Bear Kev coming in and taking out that Lucio. They're gonna have to back off and wait for that Lucio to come back to even think about taking a push. Noma's gonna try to get up in the air and try to do some damage, but not gonna be able to get a whole lot done. Lokai is just at this point having free reign at the high ground, just along with his DPS partner Zach here.
They did get a fair amount of free distance though from that fight, even though they did lose it, so they can't be too unhappy with that. But Spook going down early, they're gonna have to waste even more precious time waiting for him to respawn.
But Noma with the dynamite onto Lokai, but it's okay. Zach returns the favor, saying, "Hey, that's my DPS partner. Stop killing her." At this point, we're gonna see FifteenSixxteen run back to spawn, figure some stuff out, swapping off off the triple support to having Chunk on that Hanzo.
Now, I would actually expect to see FifteenSixxteen win this fight due to Rio already having the nano due to how much healing they've had to been doing for their team.
No, that's totally fair. That nano boost can absolutely open things up, especially if they give it to either Spook
Zach
or
down.
Chunk here. But that is huge. 2 picks right away from Chunk, and they're not going to need the nano boost. They absolutely have this fight. The Bob coming in and just going to get on the point, but instant sleep. But someone woke him up! Who woke him up? Don't wake up the Bob.
Immediately with 2 more picks.
Nano.
3!
Nano's
4!
Nano's going to be the last to die. Lokai, huge!
5!
Lokai with the 5k. That is absolutely massive. Being able to... And already going to be 53% to another Bob. Not to mention that Flamia, Panda Bear, Zach, they're gonna have 5 ults. Boosted. This is gonna be their fight all the way. Calling it now.
Lokai picking up his team up on his shoulders and saying, "This is a losing fight, but we're not losing this fight. I'm gonna carry you guys through it."
Absolutely. Huge pull right into that barrage. Zach being able to take 2 out with that, maybe being able to pick up 2 more. That's going to be another lost fight. Chunk just trying to do what he can to do whatever damage he can. But it's not going to be enough. Noma just decides, I'm going to just run away. I'm going to sit and spawn. You guys go have fun.
Boosted with a fantastic ultimate economy right now. They won that fight with only 2 ults, and they've got 3, soon to be 4 on their own. Now, FifteenSixxteen also coming into this fight with 4 ults on their own side. It'll be interesting to see if we see the Dragon Strike come out without the Graviton online, though.
It's going to be really tough to see. It's going to really come down to who's out of position.
Look at this rotation.
And what we can get. This rotation is really interesting. Yeah, they're going to go all the way around. Go just straight for them. Get straight for Delicious. Delicious isn't gonna get down enough. No, there he goes. He finally drops, but it doesn't matter. Zach, Panda Bear, they both pick off 3. That's gonna make it really cleaned up. Ethereal just trying to do what he can, push as much card as he can, but it's probably not gonna be enough. There he goes. Nano just trying to be one of the last 2 alive. Nano and Flamia. Flamia's in Garage. Up there, she's found out.
Late pick onto Ryu, and I'm thinking Ryu's Nano Boost was not meant to go onto Ethereal there. Boostio, well, a bit fun to see at the end of a fight on Nepal, not good to see in a losing fight on Route 66.
You know, there's not a whole lot you can do about a Boostio. Like, in the end, sometimes that Lucio will just jump right in front of you at the worst possible times. Here comes Bob coming in, and he's gonna get instantly slept. No one's gonna wake him this
Nano
time.
died with Grav. This is
Nano
huge.
did die with the grab. And here come, and it's gonna end a huge trans coming from Memory. Nothing's gonna come with that. Noma's gonna pick up Lokai, but it's not gonna be enough. It's gonna be a full hold for Boosted.
It all came down to the Grav Dragon combo they were saving up for, and they never even got a chance to throw it out.
Nano, it took a really long time to charge that grab, and at some point you got to think, you know, is it just worth it just to completely swap that off tank?
Yeah, the comp that they were running just wasn't able to break the defense, and I don't even think it was completely because of the compositions they were running. I don't think 1516's comp was being out-strategized by what Boosted was running. I think it was more just Boosted winning the early fights and then forcing 1516 to make some swaps, and 1516 just never being able to recover from that ult deficit that they had.
Absolutely, it really comes down to that ult deficit. Like when the fact that they had that, it just hurts so much going into these fights. We're gonna see just in the end, Boosted, they have such a short distance to go here. They don't even have to cap the first point. That's gonna really hurt going in here.
We might see the Bastion.
Bastion attack might be a thing. We might be seeing a pirate ship.
I like it already.
Is completely viable on this map. It can completely do his job. And we're gonna see again triple support. I don't know why this hasn't been working, but we'll see if it works this time.
It is a comp that 1516 is comfortable running, but
this is true.
I think Boosted is looking to catch them off guard with this Bastion.
Oh, definitely, and the fact that they don't have any Bastion counters available in this comp.
Not even the Diva.
No, they've got nothing ready for this Bastion. If you let Zac get set up, if you don't get that Widow to headshot him twice before he even gets there, it's gonna completely destroy any chance you had of holding.
Lokai making the last minute swap onto Ashe.
Look at this positioning. Look at this positioning that they're at. They're in the tunnel. They're waiting for it. They're gonna push in and they're gonna immediately get right to point. They're gonna start swinging. Spook immediately gets purple, and he's might dry, but no, he's able to back off and get back into that tunnel. And Nano
Chunk dies early though.
Chunk does die early. That is gonna hurt. And
I do like the early attack though. Chunk making the swap on the Hanzo.
Yeah, that's gonna be better against the Bastion in this case. And Zac is gonna just go ahead and just set up a point, and that's definitely what you wanted not to happen here. They're gonna get. We might see here 1516 getting trapped in this room, immediately taking out Noma, and we're gonna like I said, they're trapped in the room. They're not able to get out. Zac picking up 2 right away, but Nano takes out Zac, but it's not enough. That's gonna be the rest of them falling. Noma's the last life. Is he gonna be able to get back to cart in time? It doesn't look like it, and it's gonna be right back for Boosted once again.
Very one-sided Route 66 we saw here tonight. I love the early attack that 1516 tried to do on their defense. Hiding in the tunnel and taking an early fight was going to be one of their only chances to recognize this Bastion comp and make the necessary swaps and still have time to take a second fight. But what ended up happening is Chunk died early, swapped into a Hanzo that they could use, but then the rest of their team got stuck in the tunnel, which is just a shooting gallery for the Bastion on the cart.
In the end, this map really just came down to Boosted's... This map really just came down to Boosted and their DPS. Their DPS is so strong. And that's really tough to see. We may be going to a short break here for halftime. So thank you for watching for as long as you have. We'll be right back here with Boosted by the Way versus 1516, currently 2-0.
One shot. One kill.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here! Nerf this!
Heroes never die.
One shot. One kill.
Here's up the cavalry thing. Nerf
我が
this.
敵を食らう
Play of the game. Heroes never die.
I've got you in my sights. Fool.
Get ready. 5, 4, 1.
Start your engine.
One shot. One kill.
Here's up the cavalry thing. Nerf
我が
this.
敵を食らう
Play of the game. Heroes never die.
I've got you in my sights. Fool.
Get ready. 5, 4, 1.
Start your engine.
One kill.
Cheers up! The cavalry's here! Nerf
我が
this!
敵を食らう
Play of the game. Heroes never die.
I've got you in my sights. Fool.
Get ready. 5, 4, 1.
Start your engine!
Epic.
One shot. One kill.
Cheers up! The cavalry's here! Nerf
我が
this!
敵を食らう
Play of the game. Heroes never die.
Welcome back to Owlet Tournament Week 4, Stage 1, Boosted by the Way versus 1516. The score is currently 2-0 in favor of Boosted by the Way, and I'm joined here once again by my co-caster, XavierEXE. X, how you doing? How's this game going?
This is a very interesting game to watch. It's coming down a lot to Zach on Boosted by the
Oh, 100%. Zach and Flamia both really well, but we are going to go ahead and point out for the audience, right? Do be aware, the blue team is now going to be 1516. Red team is now going to be Boosted by the Way. Just
And
so
we've
we're
seen-
all ready for
We've
that.
seen a couple substitutions on the side of 1516. We have Vitas in for Chunk, and on the side of Boosted by the Way, we have Foxer in for Panda Bear Kev. Now, on the side of Boosted by the Way, I think this substitution is very interesting because Foxer is known for their diva play. So a substitution like this is making me think they're wanting to run dive here.
Ready for battle.
Absolutely, that's a completely fair. Foxer on that diva, she is absolutely terrifying. And let's kind of talk about comps in general. We're on Horizon Lunar Colony, map 3. What do we normally see on Horizon?
Well, normally we see a lot of goats, but comps like Orisa Junkrat Widow on defense can work, and Dive has also had a bit of a home here at times. Less now that goats is more prevalent, it's still a comp that we see every now and then.
Well, speaking of dives, it looks like 15-16 is what our coach's favorite thing to talk about is triple tank dive, coming in with the Ana, Zen, and the Widowmaker.
Vitas being brought in specifically for this Hammond, I think.
It very well could be. And we're going to see a really different comp coming from the side of Boosted, by the way. They're going to be running
Sombra
triple
scouting.
DPS. Oh, that could be what it is. But they do have a triple DPS up. And there it is.
Here comes the
It's
swap.
going to the dive. It's dive v
Called
dive.
it. Widow Genji dive. This will be interesting to see the duel between Noma and Lokai.
100%. Lokai overall has been on the up and up with his dives, and we're gonna see the dive in Delicious and Zach all coming in, just trying to get in there. Spook and Nano come back for his team. Noma pick off Memory immediately. That's a huge pick to take off right away, and Venus take out Zach. That's gonna make the dive have to come right back out. They've decided that that fight wasn't gonna work. Boosted, they need to get out of there. Oh, but Vitas with the stagger onto the Widowmaker. And Vitas is going to try to do what he can before doing any damage and get as much ult charge as he could.
Very aggressive here from Vitas.
Very true. And they're going to go ahead and res Lokai back. That doesn't mean that for this next fight, they're not going to have a res. Or in the middle of the fight. And they're going to stick with the dive one more time. Just goes in. Foxer is slow behind him. A little late on the dive. And we see the dive tanks for 15-16 come right on back. And they can't handle it. Delicious. Getting immediately taken down by Spook and the Hammond. Flamia does pull out that Valkyrie, but that's not going to see a whole lot of use from it. Lokai and Zach both taking off.
They're turning this fight around.
This fight takes it around. Zach takes out the third. That's going to make Spook down. This is going to make it. They're going to make it 5-3. They're going to come in. Nano is going to be the only tank left on point, and they're going to be able to focus him down right away. But here comes the bomb, and is not going to get a whole lot of anything with it. Zach was able to get behind, and Memory picking off 2 as the Zenyatta. Huge take back from Boosted.
Now 15-16 is definitely going to want that self-destruct back. I do not think it was a good decision to drop it there. Luckily, they're going to have all 5 of their other ultimates online, but on the side of Boosted, by the way, they've got 3 and are looking to get 5 of their own.
Definitely. This trans is gonna have to be held until Zach pops that blade. We're gonna see Delicious come in, but he's gonna come in on his own, but he's gonna get the angry monkey out. And we're gonna go see. He's gonna hold him at the doors. And no, he finally dies. Ethereal and Spook just pushing back, and Spook on the angry monkey, getting 2. That's huge on the angry monkey. Being able to push him back and end that fight right away for Boosted. Vitas with the punch onto Genji. That is just the BM. But we're gonna get the res onto Genji. And Zach and instant pick from Riri onto Noma. That is huge from that Zen. That does get him that trans as well. No, this is entirely engageable. And all we have to do is make sure they take out Ethereal so they can use that Dragon Blade. Riri with the aggressive. And Veda's popping off his ult on the point. Zach with the blade picks off Nano, picks off Spook. That's 2 huge picks. And that's really gonna help them to take this point, take out all the tanks. Venus, the last point alive, but he's gonna die.
Zoom Miata coming
do what he can, but it's not gonna be enough. Ryu, just trying to do what he can with the Ana, but he's not gonna touch the point. Someone's gonna touch the point.
Popping.
Absolutely, Zach came back, and Spook is gonna touch on point. He's gonna do what he can, but he's gonna get melted down by all of the focus fire from Boosted, by the way. And we're gonna see the bomb come in, and it's gonna get Zach. That's a huge power target to take down. That might not be enough, because the Fox is telling out the other bomb. Doesn't get anything. Noah with the Mei on point, just trying to do whatever he can with that Mei. But he's gonna get focused on by the 2 tanks. And Spook and Vetus playing back once again. It's the traditional, as it always is, never-ending fight for 2 CP. Spook
15-16 is turning it around.
The 15-16 is turning it around. Spook cleaning right back up, and they're going to take the fight right back.
Very intense fight there. Super well played from each team, but 15-16 ultimately coming out on top. They switched to the stall comp and were able to buy enough time to take an engagement with 5 of their team members alive. But now they're going to lose some of this ult charge as they have to switch back to a more stable composition.
Absolutely.
Noma down early again.
Getting the initial pick. Mimri is getting these opening picks for all these fights, and that is absolutely huge.
Big
Lucius
line.
just trying to do what it can, and Zach, another blade! Immediately takes out Ethereal, and it's gonna look for Ryu there, but he doesn't get Ryu. D-Max Nano with it, and that's gonna be huge. That's all he needed. Keep them off the point. Really
Zach
well placed play.
Playing out of his mind on this Genji. I mean, the fight that they lost, he got 6 kills over the course of the fight and then died, and like that's already impressive. And then that fight, he comes in, already has another blade. They win that fight, and he's not being pressured at all.
Absolutely, we can't give this dude enough credit. Not to mention, we should also give like Memory. Especially that last point. Every fight got the opening pick as Zen. Being able to find their DPS and immediately take them out, that is huge for a Zen to be able to do that.
Noma dying first both fights that put 15-16 on the edge and eventually cost them to lose the point. First dying early on Widow and then dying early on Mei to the Zen. Memory playing fantastically.
And 3 minutes left in the time bank, that is nothing to scoff at. That is a lot of time to have if this goes to overtime.
15-16 can feel good about the stall. They bought a lot of time and managed to win that fight that they should not have won, but still, definitely enough time to take this to possibly even a third set of attacks if this goes extremely smoothly. For
Vitas and Spook are both doing really well on their respective roles. They were Vitas on that hamster was doing really well on his dives, being able to find those supports or finding that specific DPS. They kind of cleaned them up with it. And Spook with his angry monkeys, they were absolutely destroying with that ultimate. They just weren't able to get enough help from the rest of the team. Unfortunately, is what it came down to.
Well, and I think it comes down a lot to, like, this triple tank dive is a very interesting composition, and it's working to an extent, but what is there in this comp to pressure Zac on, well, it was Genji, but now what is there to pressure him on Junkrat here? They're gonna dive, but
they've got nothing for it. They've got absolutely nothing for it. A huge initial fire right from Lokai onto those tanks. Spook is gonna dive in immediately, and immediately just decides to nope right out of there. Just instant, but Vitas and Nano are both gonna come back in. Spook comes right back up for a second dive, but gets taken out by Lokai. This fight goes right back just instantly in favor of Boost, by the way. Lokai with another kill with the dynamite onto Nano to finish it off.
Vitas revealing his location out here was not a good idea.
Definitely not. That's gonna hurt him a lot. That's gonna be a huge stagger coming in. And not to mention, where do you think that fight went wrong?
It was definitely the dive that they did. So Spook and Nano dove in at the same time, but they dove in when Vitas was swinging back to get ready for it. So only 2 of the 3 tanks was in position at the right time, and Vitas was out of that fight. And by the time he got in, Ethereal was already dead.
Huge initial 2 picks from Foxer and Lokai, and not to mention the Riptide comes in here, and it's gonna just get Ethereal hiding behind the pillar, doing what he can, and it's gonna D-Mac Nano. That's gonna be another 5 right for Boost, and Vitas gonna just do whatever he can to try to get as much ult charge as he can, but he's not gonna get a whole lot. He needs to get out of there before he ends up being just another stagger.
Now, I think the one saving grace that 15-16 has from this fight is Vitas' early pick on Memory. Now, Memory didn't get very much ult charge in the first fight, due to sitting in the back and everyone else dying so quickly. And then this second fight, he dies early. He's only 56% of Transcendence, and we're 2 minutes into the round.
Absolutely, and not to mention, like, when we're looking at this kind of comp, the only ult that 15-16 has ready is that Nano boost. They've been slow to ult here. Well, we've got both Bomb and Bob available. Not to mention, we're about to see Bongos come on air in a second.
Nano goes on the Spook.
Bongos go out, and the Nano goes on Spook, but Spook is purple, and he's so low, he's not going to be able to live much longer. And he gets slept again, and Flavia takes him out and finishes the job. But only the tanks left on point, and then here comes the bomb, and there's not going to be a lot to that huge bomb coming from Foxer. 2 kills, and then Memory finishes off Noma, killing that Tracer. Any Zen's worst nightmare.
Now, I was actually expecting Vitas to switch off of Hammond here due to investing the minefield so late into that fight, but he's actually going to stay, so I don't know how I feel about the use of that ultimate there. Noma's going to swap on the Tracer.
We're going to need to see some serious swaps coming in. They're going for the triple dive again, and it's not working. I don't know why they haven't thought to swap yet. They do have both Bomb. They have all both tank ults of their main tanks, and not including not including
Nano
the hammer.
trapped.
Hansen.
Out of
But
mech.
Mimiri, once again, finding Noma. Mimiri has been Noma's biggest enemy this entire map so far, just instantly deleting right away. And that's gonna be this fight. It's gonna slowly fall apart. What do we need to see the swap to? Because Lokai is still cleaning up, getting those staggers in when they really should have just backed off already.
I think what a good decision would be to make here would be to switch on to probably Goats actually, or maybe another sniper to pressure Lokai because he's just free firing here.
That
Triple dive isn't the worst choice, but like they're losing these fights due to these small little mistakes, like Spook misplacing his bubble, Vetus using his ult too late, getting trapped in a Junkrat trap like Vetus just did.
We're gonna see the Nano Monkey once again, and here comes Bob, my favorite ult, but it's not gonna get a whole lot of anything with it. We've got Ethereal and Nano just trying to find a point. Nano comes out with a bomb, but so does Foxer. Neither bombs get anything. Flamia dies to Nova, but Zach killing, making it even. Memory coming in with that Zen ult, and it keeps his team up, and it's gonna be enough. Nova and Nano, the last two left, and we're gonna see no more kills coming from them. And Nova was able to take out Zach, but that's it. Ryu. D-Max, the Diva, but it's not enough. Noma's last alive. Nano, I mean, and Ryu, and then that's it. That's it. That's gonna be 3-0. 15-16.
Noma trying so hard to bring that fight back. Noma trying so hard to bring that fight back and that entire attack back on Tracer, but the rest of the team just wasn't working. And I worry now if subbing in Vetus was the right decision, and I don't think it was, because I worry about the flexibility that they had making this decision. When triple tank dive doesn't work and Vetus is only playing that Hammond, what other options do you have?
I mean, in the end, Bunker is the strongest counter to dive, and they just decided to keep running dive anyways, and that was just a poor decision making. I don't know if that was from the coach or from their shot caller, but that was just not working for them.
And it could have also been not a mistake from either the shot caller or the coach, but just a mistake the sub in general. Like, maybe Vetus isn't that flexible and couldn't switch off of the Hammond in a situation this intense.
That is totally fair. So we're gonna go into our fourth map here. At this point, the win is already going to Boosted, by the way, but we still get to play 4 maps, and our last map tonight will be not looking at it right now. It is Blizzard World. Blizzard World is it's a really interesting map. We can see some interesting things coming in. What are we expecting on Blizzard World from this thing? Because we do want 15-16 does need to at least take 1 map if they want any chance with this map differential. That's what's important here.
You can expect a lot of different things on Blizzard World. We've seen double sniper work here. We've seen Bunker up on the place behind the little boat behind the point. We've seen Goats run here a lot, but that's because Goats is run on every map a lot. It'll be interesting to see what the teams decide to pull out.
100%. And I think we can really just see Zach come out once again on that DPS. Zach and Lokai as a DPS duo are just so strong. You cannot touch these two. They just put out so much damage to the point where, like, even the supports, Memory and Flamia, they do their job, and that's all they need to do.
And we're seeing Panda Bear Kev subbed back in for Foxer, so I would definitely expect a lot more Death Ball. Foxer subbed in for the dive, did her job fantastically. Now we're back to a map where it's not as strong. Sub her back out.
Fair enough. And when it comes down to it, Panda Bear has been absolutely killing it on the first 2 maps with that Zarya. His grabs were able to get in there and absolutely clean up. It was absolutely huge coming from him.
So based on the substitution, I'm expecting a similar look to what we saw on Nepal. Probably triple support, Ryan, Zarya, Farah is what I'm expecting to see from this team.
Fair? No, that's that. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
And Chunk is subbed back in for Vetus for the side of 15-16. So I'm going to go with Zen Goats is my prediction for 15-16. At least on first point.
No, that is gonna be not surprising at all. They ran that Zed Ghost for the first 2 maps. It didn't work very well, but it's just what they're comfortable with, and that's what they run.
They did get Village with it.
They did get Village. You're right. They did get Village with that, but they just need to make sure they're really watching out for the boost of DPS. But other than watching out for is there anything else really they can do to help them win this match or win this last map?
I think we're going to have to see Noma swap off onto something like the McCree and have this team adapt around it. We've seen some, Rhine Diva, just because teams aren't making the swap, they aren't making the swap onto a proper comp that can support a character like the McCree or the Ashe. We need to see them come out of spawn with a comp that can shut down this Pharah that Zach has been dominating with.
Absolutely. It's a little too early to call MVPs at this point, but I think we both know what our MVP choice is here, because Zach has been untouchable on his DPS this entire match, and in the end, if 15-16 can't figure out how to get around him, they're not gonna have any chance of taking this last map and just padding that map differential just a little bit.
I would really like to see something along the lines of McCree with dive tanks from 15-16, because then, regardless of if Zach runs the Pharah or the Genji that he's been super strong on, McCree can have a way to deal with both of those, and the dive tanks can deal with Lokai's snipers. I think a comp along those lines would be their best chance of taking this map.
No, that's definitely really fair to say. This will be a really, really tough map for both teams. I think 15-16 just really has to come together and figure out that focus fire. And we're still just waiting to get loaded into this last map.
You got to worry about the mentality that 15-16 has about this match now, when each map has come down to a lot of just Zach and Lokai popping off and them not being able to shut them down.
Absolutely. And we're gonna start loading into this map. So Blizzard World. So we kind of talked about what we expected from 15-16 round. What do you think we're gonna see running? Do you think they're gonna keep going for just the four? Please, by the way, kind of random each. A little more fun, a little different.
Well, they could take this advantage that they have now that they've already won the series to give some new comps that they might not normally run a shot. But given how well they've been performing, I don't think they're gonna play with their food per se.
That's fair enough. They do want to hold on to that onto that 4-0, because in the end of this tournament, map differential is everything, and we really need to see, and we're gonna really see that come down when we get towards the end of stage 2. But looking at who they have in, I'm expecting the Rhine Zarya.
Ready for battle.
As expected, the Ashe Pharah. Those specific
A lot from them.
It's been the most popular comp from them overall the entire match, and it's been what's worked really well. Lokai's Ashe is untouchable. Zach's Pharah is untouchable. Flamia, I haven't seen her die once, I don't think, on the Ana.
Now, this will be interesting to see from 15-16. They're showing us double sniper on attack, and I actually like this decision. I'm not sure how I feel about the Rhine Zarya, but allowing the tanks and supports to push onto point on their own, and then having Widow and Hanzo take different angles should shut down Zach at least a bit more, and pressure Lokai at the same time. I think this is a good look from them.
This might be exactly what they need to be doing here. Let's see if they're able to get the work done with it. Now I'm going ahead and just gonna try to fake a quick couple pot shots, but it gets blocked by the shield. Lokai and Panda are both on the low ground there, and they're gonna come meet them right face to face. Instead, holding that high ground, and Spook is already half health from that huge dynamite coming in. He gets healed back up by Ryu, but that might not be enough. Lokai picking off the Noma right away, and Delicious and Spook just swinging right at each other. We got Nano trying to swing around, trying to get some damage out of that Zarya, but it's not gonna be enough. Spook just constantly doing whatever he can to swing, but Lokai and Delicious able to keep picking off, going straight through their tanks, and it's not gonna be enough. 15-16, they're gonna have to run. They're gonna have to get out of here.
Pushing up for the late kills too. As soon as Noma went down, I would have liked to see 15-16 retreat and try and take another fight rather than feeding over the ult charge that they just did. Once Noma goes down, it's really hard for Chunk to pressure the Pharah on Hanzo, and how is Chunk going to be able to pressure Lokai and Zac at the same time on his own? He's
No,
not.
that's totally fair. Not to mention, we do have slight ult advantage on the side of the main tanks towards 15-16. Spook charged his Earth Shatter much faster. So we're gonna see if he's able to get anything with that. But we're gonna go ahead and send in Bob. Here comes Bob, but he gets immediately sleeped by
Ethereal falls though.
That is true. We're down as support. And Ryu, what are you doing there? Ryu trying to get behind, and he immediately gets found by Memory, and instantly does a wipe.
Maybe looking for a big bio nade to try and take that fight back, but in the end, it's not going to work.
It's not, and Lokai's going to be able to take out the last 2 DPS, making sure that stagger is a full stagger.
Now the
And
good thing though, is 15-16 hasn't used any ult.
This is true. 15-16 does have their 2 ults still up, and but we're gonna see Chunk swap over to the Ashe off the Hanzo, trying to counter Lokai and Zac, simultaneously trying to pick up where Noma is dropping. Spook is still a little bit ahead of the rest of his team. He does pull back though, waiting for Nano to come in, and they're gonna go in and just get to point and just start swinging. But a huge shatter comes from behind. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Memory had his trans ready, and they're gonna go ahead and take care of that. Spook is nanoed, but he's gonna focus down. Zac is down, that is true, but it doesn't matter because Delicious and Panda Bear Kev, they're gonna take up the added. They're gonna go in and absolutely clean up after their DPS star died.
Now I like the swap from Chunk onto the Ashe because it gives them 2 hit scan snipers, so in case Noma falls, you've still got pressure on the Pharah, you've still got pressure on the opposing Ashe, but so far, 23% after that one fight, not getting that much value.
Noma is on his own with that Widowmaker. That might be an issue, but it's okay. They're not going to kill him, and they're going to go for a hard speed push, going right forward. But there's a huge grab coming in with the barrage, with a bubble, and that takes out both the tanks. That is huge. Ethereal's going to fall right after. Noma is going to run away, but Ryu is going to try to stay at point. Ryu keeps going up to point when he really shouldn't be. They've got 30 seconds left to try to regroup and make one more, and it's going to come up. If they can try to make it, it's going to come down to the speed, the ferocity. Can 15-16 do it? They're still waiting, but
Nova swaps into McCree last minute, and they've got no ults.
They have no ults available for this fight. That is right, and they're waiting for the speed. And
Panda Bear is slept.
That is a huge sleep to open it up with. But here comes Bob, and he's going to push out Ethereal and take out Lokai, take out Ethereal, and take out Noma, and that's going to be it.
These grab barrage combos are enormous. I think we're really seeing why Boosted, by the way, has gone undefeated and is currently in first place. Every time we've seen these combos, they've been stellar.
Absolutely. Panda Bear Kev and Zac are just on another level together. They're able to get that grab and then immediately with a bubble on. So Zac doesn't die. You know, for most Pharahs, using the barrage is a death sentence. You know, you're gonna get. It's just about how many kills you can get before they kill you. But if you have a Zarya who's there to work with you, like Panda Bear and Zac, it's just gonna be easy living for you.
Well, what can you expect 15-16 to do? They're not running the Zen to counter the Grav. They're running Ana, and how can you expect them to kill this Pharah when she barrages and is bubbled by the Zarya while they're stuck in Grav?
No, that's totally fair, and we're gonna go ahead and see it.
This is interesting.
All right. So we're gonna. So if the Torb is staying, it's a stick. It's an actual pick. Okay. So Chunk is gonna pull out the Torb. Noma pulls out the Ashe for the DPS here. Ethereal and Ryu on that Zen on a Zen. Right.
I did say we weren't gonna see Torb today, but maybe I was wrong. This is a map that.
No, we were watching Contenders earlier. That's where we saw Torb.
Yes.
So you know, Torb is somewhat viable, honestly. Like, he can actually work.
And this is a map that, even with old Torbjorn, this is one of the few maps that we would actually see him played at some points. You'd see him defense here and defense on, like, first point Gibraltar, so it'll be interesting to see if this is the comp that 15-16 needs to get a map win under their belt.
Absolutely. We're gonna, and looks like we're gonna go ahead and just see a pretty classic dive here coming outside of Boosted. Flamia is gonna be a little slow because she is on that Ana, but in the end, being slow doesn't matter when you're able to take that high ground and just heal everyone with one fat nade. And they're just gonna wait. They're gonna go and see who's gonna stick out of position first and pick a target. But Lokai dropping first. That is a huge initial pick from Spook, and that might make them wait a little longer.
I really like this positioning that they're holding. They're holding on the point behind this wall where the snipers, well, where Lokai can't see them, and Zach goes down early from a fantastic shot from Ethereal.
Delicious gets in and goes in, that is behind, going after Noma, and Ethereal picks off Ethereal. That's a huge pick right away, but he does that himself. That is a trade. But Panda Bear is able to take out that Torp turret, so they're gonna have to figure out if they're gonna push or they're gonna wait for their main tank to come back.
It looks like they're going to retreat, and I think this is the right decision. I really do like the position that Chunk has for these turrets, though. They're out of sight, so they only start firing after Boosted, by the way, decides to fully engage onto the point, and then in order to take them down, they're going to have to take their sights off of the team in order to shut down the turret.
Absolutely. We're back up to 6v6, and we got the Nano Monkey coming in. Instantly just melts through Ethereal. Spook is on his own. He's completely separated from his team. That's going to let Delicious get in there and completely
It comes down to Bob. It comes down to Bob.
Can't Bob hold it? Well, Bob and Torbjorn, but Torbjorn falls, so it's all Bob.
It's all Bob.
And Bob leaves.
No.
You see 9. Bob 9. And that's gonna be it.
Classic B9 from Bob.
Typical Bob just leaving the game, and that is going to be it. A 4-0 in favor of Boosted, by the way. And while we're going through this, I think we both know who it is. But who are you going to go ahead and give your MVP to here, X?
Well, despite the entirety of Boosted, by the way, playing fantastically, Flamia playing out of her mind, I definitely have to give it to Zach here. Completely uncontested on Pharah and Genji on all of these maps, playing just stellar. Every single map.
No, that is completely fair. I'm going to give mine, since you already gave yours to Zach, I'm going to go ahead and give mine to Lokai, the other DPS for Boosted, by the way. Almost completely uncontested on that Ashe, and being able to just go ahead and just clean up, and it's been really easy for them. But this was a really good match, really well played from both teams here. This has been week 4, stage 1, day 1 of Owlet season 2. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to my co-caster X and our producer Noah. We hope to see you again next time.